Hey, awesome Facebook family. Leash here. Just wanted to check in from the beautiful Geelong, down on the waterfront with the boats behind me, and thought I'm just going to jump in and do this live today. And I wanted to talk to you guys about how we create the world we live in. Now, this is a really awesome and profound thing that I want to share with you guys, and I think that it is super important that we get a handle of this in our business, because when we realize that we create the world that we live in, it gives us so much more control and we can affect the changes that we want to see. So what I mean by that is, I think a beautiful example of this is the clients that we treat. How often is it that we see somebody, I'll use pain as an example, because pain is something that's a perception that we have. Some people have minimal amounts of pain and they have minimal amounts of dysfunction and they have a truckload of pain. Whereas other people have truckloads amount of, or minimal amount of dysfunction, maximum amount of dysfunction and minimal amount of pain. And it's like, because of how we perceive pain to be. Now, perceiving pain with our physical body is actually very similar to how we perceive pain or situations within our business. And sometimes I see this time and time again as a coach, and I used to see it all the time. My speciality in massage is complicated cases. So I love to treat complicated cases. If somebody had, fibromyalgia and a frozen shoulder and depression, they were my favorites. I love them. I particularly love old men that their wife had sent them in, and they come in with their arms across their chest going, what can this young whippersnapper do for me? And basically we'd have a chat, and they just had this, and I loved it. They were my favorites, because when I won them over, I knew that a great shift was going to happen. And I think it's similar in business, because we have so much that goes on. We create so much stuff in our lives. We were talking about this with parenting yesterday with the team, with our coaches, and talking about the different types of parenting that we have. And we've got a bunch of really different people that we all work together. And for me, my kids are not they're not compliant. Yeah, they are eventually, but they have to be noisy about it, right? So for me, when I'm setting a boundary with my kids, it's not like mum says, don't go to the edge of the water, and they go, oh, okay, sure. It's like, well, how close to the edge could I actually go? Like, is here okay? Like, if I lie on my tummy, can I reach over and stick my head over the edge? That's my kids, right? And then one of the other ladies was saying that when her kids were little, she never raised a voice, never had to discipline them. All she'd ever have to say was, I'll count. And her kids would literally just be like, whoa, if mum's counting, she means business. Now we're done, right? Now, what I find really fascinating is that for me, if I had a really placid child, I actually wouldn't know what to do with them. And sometimes this is actually true. We have friends over and stuff, and the kids are really quiet, and I'm like, what do you do with this? Like, they don't speak. Poke them so they'll talk to you. No, not really. It's safe to leave your kids with me. But because we create the world that is around us by the filters that we have. So, we have different filters on Snapchat and Facebook Messenger and stuff, but, back in the day, we would actually have actual cameras, like a SLR camera, and you have a lens that's on it. I remember when James was into photography, really back in the day, you could buy black and white film, because I'm a dinosaur. And you could buy this film, and you could literally take photos, that were black and white. The interesting thing about this black and white film is that you couldn't take, obviously, a coloured photograph on it. You had to change film, or use up the film, or grab another camera actually, in order to be able to get a different photograph. And it's the same with lenses. Like, you can get a lens, a telescopic lens, or you can get a UV filter that kind of stops the glare, which would be great today because it's quite bright. Our lives are just like those cameras. We have filters that we perceive stuff through. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody where you thought something was happening? Like, maybe you thought they didn't like you, or you thought that they were offended, or you thought they were upset. And when you go and have a conversation with them, you're all weird. Like, you're acting funny, you're behaving differently. You've got a funny filter on your camera. And then you have a conversation with them, and you realize that there's nothing there, and all of a sudden everything's fine, and you feel like, you know, you're as relaxed as you would be if you had your slippers and your dressing gown on. Running a business is just like this. And what I love about this idea that we have, if we have a fixed lens, it makes life really challenging because we're often very fixed ourselves. The people with the most behavioral flexibility are the people who will win in business. Because if you have an area or a strength or you have an area in your business that you're not strong in, and you know somebody that is strong and has those gifts and has that lens, when you study what it is that they do and you look for their recipe, it enables you to be able, or empowers you to be able to literally have that same filter, have that same outcome that they are getting. And that's what I love about human behavior. Like, so much of what we talk about in coaching, it's absolutely to do with business and, you know, leadership, building the muscle, but a lot of it is also to do with the behaviors of us, because a business is a reflection of us. And if we want it to change, then we have to change massively, and we've got to be willing to do what it takes to change our filters. And the best question that I was ever taught to ask is, how's it working for you? Because if it's a really glary day and you have a UV filter, it's actually really important because it's going to stop the glare. But if you've got a black and white filter or black and white film and you want to see things in color, then you've got to be willing to change the lens. You've got to be willing to look at things in a different way. You might need to hear something in a different way. You might need to think in a different way, or maybe you need to attach some different feelings to it. And that is how we create the world that we are in, and the map of our world, where we recreate a representation of what we make something mean, and how we can change the meaning if it's no longer serving us. And that's what I want you guys to be thinking about. If there is something that you are thinking about right now that is no longer serving you in your business life, I'd love you to post it below and let's work it out. Let's work through what are some other filters that you could be applying to this situation that could totally change the game for you. Looking forward to hearing your comments, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.